recording this. Okay, so it's now recording. So I'm just going to repeat this just for the heck of it. So what we're doing, guys, is we're going to go through the decision-making process for doing an individual media plan for American Eagle. And we're going to go through it very quickly. I probably will miss some of the variables, but you'll get a sense of how to do it. So the very first thing we're going to do is first we've thought a little bit about American Eagle and Mariah Johansson. Am I pronouncing that right, by the way?
Johansson.
Johansson. Okay. Thank you for that. I'll mispronounce it, by the way. Here. But it's chosen American Eagle. It competes with maybe Aeropostale, maybe Old Navy, in kind of these casual mid-market sorts of clothes. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is share the screen and get to MRI and see if I can do that here. Okay, can you guys all see that, by the way, the MRI? Okay, good. And it just literally just started picking up last year's spring data. If you've already pulled the data, it's no problem. Just use the 2017 data. And so I'm going to type in American Eagle. And it's got, there's an American Eagle airline, by the way. And we're not worried about the internet sort of things. We're going to use the store. You were interested, Mariah, in the stores. So we'll just click on that. Okay. Now, I've done a few things already with this list. I went here to that little icon, the little gear icon, went in there and made sure that I had the sort of variables pulled over that I want. Here's the variables that will show up. Here's the list of stuff we could pull over. So for instance, I know we're really interested in the census regions, because we have to do a little bit of geographic work. So I pulled those over. I know we're going to be interested in looking at whether the people are heavy or moderately heavy users of the internet, of newspapers, of outdoors, maybe of radio, certainly so TV, because we're going to eventually look for choices there. And so what I had to do to pull them over, I just highlighted them and clicked on the little arrow. Okay, so I already did that. Okay. Now, the one thing I wasn't getting was an ability to look at all these things at the same time, all these stores. So I'm just going to go and just find American Eagle. And what this means is people who have shopped at American Eagle, 0 times in the last 30 days, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it should give us, and then, there's one called Any. Okay, so I'm really going to select that because chances are you're going to find very few people who have only shopped once, and very, very few people have shopped 15 times. So I'm going to just click on Any, and here's what it gives me. Okay, first, this column here, remember this is the population numbers. It has nothing to do with whether the people go to the stores or not. So for instance, there's 247 million adults in this country, okay, because I'm looking here at adults. I'm saying, does that sound about right? 247 million? Yeah, it sounds about right. And, about half men, half women. Yeah, it sounds about right, okay. Now, the rest of the data will give me people who have actually shopped in the last 3 months at American Eagle. And the reason I'm focusing on them is that it's going to be really hard if you've never been in the store. The 1 or 2 or 3 ads you see in a month are not going to be much to enough to get you to move in there. So you're probably going to want to go to the people who are already going to the store with your one shot, your single month, and say, okay, can we get them to go more? Okay. So looking at this right here, I can just zip down this last column, this index number, and say women index at 123 for shopping in American Eagle, whereas men only index at 75. Okay. So my first thing here, if I got to pick a gender, I'm probably going to pick women. Does that make sense, Mariah?
Yes.
Okay. Then I'm going to go back here and I'm going to see what happens. Okay. So it says women, there were 7.7 million women. I'm going to switch this over to women. And so now what this does is exclude men completely. Yep, see, men are 0, and it gives me that same 7.7 million. So that looks good. Okay, and now I'm just looking at women here. So this data is not getting polluted essentially by looking at data, at input from men. Okay, and so women should now index at 100 because we're only looking at women, right? So now let's look. So are we okay with targeting women?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I'm going to write that, and I can, by the way, I can download this stuff to Excel really easily and create all sorts of great little, pivot tables or something like that. So let's look at ages here. And it was, and it's kind of interesting. About 22% of their business comes from women 18 to 24, which is kind of what you were talking about. 14%, 35 to 44. Another 22% is, if I'm getting this right, is 35 to 44, and another 22% is 45. 45 to 54, and then it drops off pretty quickly after that. Looking at that, gee, I'm not seeing a whole lot of differences between those things. Okay, so you have a couple choices. You could pick out the best ones, or the best one or group of couple, or you could just select women 18 to 24 and 25 to 34 and 35 to 44 and 45 to 54. Because they all, well, there's a little gap here, 25 to 34, but the rest are not bad. And the reason for putting all this together is just a kind of a media business thing, and that is the broader your category, the cheaper it's going to be to find them. Like if you're trying to talk to all people, well, that means you just blast the ad anyway, anywhere, and it's going to work. At least it's going to show us a good number. Okay, so Mariah, you can make your final decisions however you want. But just for tonight, I'm going to say 18 to 54. Okay?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's defensible.
Yeah.
When you're going and dealing with the media flight plan, it's going to require you, if you want to have multiple or adjacent demographics, they have to be adjacent. Okay, good. Okay, so we've chosen women 18 to 54. You have a couple different ways you could do the geographic part of things. Mariah, you could go down, I put the geographic way down the bottom here, and I could look here. It's divided up by census region, so they're huge areas, okay? To be honest, this will work just fine. The other way to do it would be to look at where your stores are and find cities that have a ton of stores. Because when you think about it, if you're running an ad in a city that has one store, everybody's got to come in and, the benefit is just the value of going to that one store. If you have a city with 10 stores or an area with 10 stores, well, that gives people a lot of shopping choices. But if we just want to look and say, where are they strong now? And I just lost it. Okay. The Midwest, they're pretty strong. They index at 116. The Northeast, they're pretty strong. They index at 123. South is a little weak, and West is even a little bit weaker. Okay, and as much as we like, to save things that are going downhill, you probably want to go where the strengths are. Because you only have 1 month to do things.
Right.
Does it make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Okay, guys, am I going too fast, too slow? I need some feedback here.
I think it's good.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
I'm good.
All right, good. Okay, thanks. Okay. Okay, so how about you just for now, because I don't want to go looking for this. We'll just go where the best index numbers are,
Yeah.
the Northeast.
Northeast, and Midwest.
Northeast and Midwest. Now, we're going to get it down to one market. So it's not going to be like ages. We're going to end up at Northeast means we're going to have to find one DMA in the Northeast. You know, maybe it's New York City, maybe it's New Haven, Connecticut, maybe it's Boston, Massachusetts, maybe it's Albany, New York, but we're only going to have one by the time we finish. Okay? Okay, so just to recap, women 18 to 54 in some market in the Northeast. Okay, we're all okay with that? Okay, we've done the ages. Let's take a look and see what we have to make a media choice here now too. And we might have to skip around. Now we know we have to choose a medium that provides just local service. So that's going to be called spot TV. It's going to be called spot radio. Internet is fine. Outdoor, which is billboards or newspaper. Broadcast network television is going to be a bad choice because that goes everywhere throughout the country. We have to pick just one little area. And magazines have the same problem. Magazines go everywhere, and you just make one buy, and so your ads get spread out. So that they're not viable. So local TV, local radio, internet, outdoor advertising are all fine. Newspapers are fine. Okay. So I'm looking for primetime TV. Okay, and I'm looking to see how it indexes for either heavy or pretty heavy. You know, quintiles 1 or 2. What this does is divide the users into 5 groups, and they don't concentrate as primetime TV people. Not even average. Okay, daytime TV, not even average. Radio, this is radio primetime. I have no idea what that's like. Nighttime radio. We might have to go and pull those numbers across, but radio might be okay. Outdoor, oh, look at that. Okay, so which kind of makes sense. I mean, the people they're out and about. Sort of they are. Newspapers, not terrible, but not great, and internet pretty good. Okay, so it's a kind of a you pick situation. Okay.
I think I would probably do the internet over something outdoor.
Okay. I'll write that down. Okay, so women 18 to 54, some market in the Northeast, internet. Okay, that's pretty. So we've done a lot of the setup for, for these sort of these strategic choices. At some point, Mariah, you want to sit down and you say, okay, what really am I trying to accomplish for this brand? And it might be as simple as maintaining their strength in a market where maintaining their strength among a market where they're already strong. Okay. Again, because you only have 1 month and $100,000, it's not a lot of money to go and bring in new people, peel people away from a different store or whatever.
Right.
Okay. Now, if I wanted to, an easy way, by the way, to figure out not really market share, but where it stands, was you had a list of Mariah stores, and what I could do is look through them one by one, and just say, okay, here's how many users they have, in the last, say, 3 months, and just do comparison that way. You're not going to have dollar volume and things like that, but it's better than nothing. And again, we don't have good at ISU. We don't have any sort of market share information. But if I say, okay, if I group together the 5 stores that I think, plus American Eagle, that compete with each other, and let's say there's 7 million people who fall into that group, I can break it down and say, okay, 3 million are American Eagle. That's 3 out of 7. What's that about? 30% of the market. 25, well, a little bit less than that. 1 out of 7 is a seventh of the market, and so on. See what I'm saying?
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Stop me if it doesn't. Okay. So I can do that as part of my figuring out my strategic thing, my kind of a up and comer, my challenger store, What am I trying to really accomplish out there? Okay. So just in that couple of minutes, we can look in and we're probably with the internet. If you did think the internet's strong, you might look and see which websites also seem to be strong, and just kind of note those down, because you're gonna have to come back to that somehow, or at some point. And again, the red stuff is stuff that they're just so few. So no surprises. MapQuest is okay. Internet Movie Database is fine. HuffPo is okay. Google Maps is okay. Groupon is okay. So I can, so a lot of places, because you said I want to do internet, you want to do internet, you're gonna have to pick those vehicles. So these things here are all vehicles. We okay here?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Okay. Okay. So next up, let's work it out. Okay. So give me a second here to figure out how to shut this down. Okay. So stop share. And then we go to media flight plan. Okay, let me see if this will work now. Give me a second here. There we go. Okay, can you guys all see media flight plan?
Yep.
Okay. My recommendation before you even get started is to strategically work your way down, starting the very first thing, and clear everything for a new flight plan. Yep, okay. And let's see if okay. I might have to save it to give it a name. I'm not sure. Save file name. So American Eagle. And it actually saves right to your computer wherever you want. Okay, all the heavy work that Media Flight Plan is doing is going to be. I'm looking for my desktop here. Where'd it go? Oh, here it goes. Is online, but you want to save it to your own machine so you can get it back. Okay. First thing, target. Can you guys see this, by the way?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Good. All right. So women. And what did we decide? 18 to 54?
Yes.
There we go. And click OK. It'll always come back with a use, and you just click OK. Okay. Campaign settings. Okay. This is really important here. So this is going to be American Eagle. Okay, and here's your big choices here. You can do a national campaign only, a spot campaign. By spot, that means spot in media terms means local, okay? One market by market, or national spot. Because you're only doing a local campaign, you choose spot only, okay? And now you've got a choice here. Mariah, what month would you like to start this?
I guess I don't really know. I don't really matter. Doesn't care.
Well, think about it. I mean, so yeah. So actually, it does matter because, call a store owner. What's their big month? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
Is it back to school, for example?
Probably.
Okay.
feel like
Well, is it back to school for women of those ages? No. They're not buying back to school clothes. So, when would you buy? The sort of, kind of sportswear or whatever that they sell.
Probably in January, because you're starting your new resolutions and you got your Christmas gift cards and everything like that. I would say January or February.
Loving it. Okay, January. you have to pick, okay? And so it actually will start with January. And this is a 1-month plan anyway. Okay, so campaign settings. Now here's the tough one, okay? Spot markets, okay? So what you have to do here is, in the absence of any other information, you said you wanted to pull something in the Northeast. So pick a city in the Northeast.
Boston.
Boston, Mass, okay. Okay, so you choose Boston. Okay, and what it's telling you here is Boston. So I just highlighted it, hit the down button, and selected Boston. Boston is the 7th largest market in the U.S. It accounts for 2.12% of the homes. Okay, 2.1%, and here it says the same thing. You've chosen one market. It's 2.1% of the homes. Okay, so that's a pretty big market, So it's 2% of 100, I think there are about 110 million homes. So it's, over 2 million homes in that market. And by Boston, again, it's Boston and the surrounding areas. Okay, budget. Okay, that's easy. Your budget is $100,000. Did I put in the right number of zeros? Yeah, it looks like it. Okay, okay. And then goals. Okay, so now you have reach and frequency goals. And you can see how I'm just working my way down the list here. You're in January, and you have to have at least a 50 reach, but what do you think a good reach would be? Kind of rule of thumb. Anybody want to jump in?
65.
65?
65, is that average?
Okay. Now, how many times in a month would you like people in your target market to see, your target demo, I should say, to see your ad? And go ahead.
Just trying to think of what would be average with a reach of 65.
Okay. So what you would do is you would jump into your media flight plan book, and I don't know, it's in the 6th page, 60 something. There's that Ostro model.
Yeah.
And it groups around 3. If it's a really complicated pitch or whatever, it'll go higher. And that's, I don't know if it's 3. I don't know if you want to be 3 per month, or 3 per week. I mean, what would get you going to?
Per month basis?
It will give you a per month basis. So if you wanted 3 per week, you would just multiply it by whatever number you want by month by 4. So if you wanted a weekly reach of 4, well, 4 times 4 is 16.
So maybe 12.
Okay, sure. Okay. Now, even without doing this, I know that reach times frequency is going to be my GRPs, but that just does it right there. So I need to buy 780 gross rating points for a reach of 65 with a average frequency of 12. Okay, which is pretty, for the whole month, and we'll see. Okay, I'm done on that. Okay, if I want here, I can change the ad types and things like that. You said you wanted to do digital. Okay, and I think that's fine. We can probably just leave it the way it is and play around with it. Okay, but now we go to this side. So we've gone through all of these things, and we go down here, and we have digital spot. Okay, and when we click on that, it'll bring up a whole bunch of choices here. Okay, and it gives the number of impressions, and so the number of impressions. That's how we'll choose. That's how we'll choose like 1 million impressions or whatever. But if we look down here, you're going to have to go to your book, your media flight plan book, where there's an explanation of what each of those things are. Mobile, you kind of know. Social, you kind of know. Publisher video site, I have no idea what those are. It says video networks are things like YouTube, and then targeted sites and ad networks are where you pick, or general sites. And you can see the cost per 1,000 is different for each one. So, it's only $3 and $4 here. And then it goes on. So I'll have to dig in a little bit, okay? But any thoughts right offhand? Do you want to have video with your stuff, or is it good enough if you're going back to the people who already know American Eagle to just be able to remind them that come in the store in January, sales are going on, or whatever pitch you want to have.
What does the EFF % next to the CPM mean?
I think what that means, and I got to tell you, this is new stuff to me here too, that in this case, 31% of your hits will go to against your target. Okay, but I would absolutely check that in the book to see what that means. So which would make this would be your best deal, but very expensive for every 1,000 people. This would be a really good deal, quite a bit less expensive.
Yeah, I was thinking probably social.
Sure. And I don't know. Let's see. So let's call it. I think I got 100,000 hits. Let's just see what happens. Okay. Okay. Well, all right. That's not going to work. It's $800,000.
Right.
Oh, okay. Oh, these are impressions in thousands. No wonder. So that 100,000 was like a billion impressions. Okay, it's 8,000. And I could probably, so if we added, that's like 12 million impressions. I just put there. Okay. I can play with the numbers here, but 12 million impressions on social media. Okay, for $96,000. So I'm on budget. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, in Boston. Okay, and let's see. Oh, what do you mean I'm not logged in? Okay, hold on. Okay, so now I got to go back and redo all that. Sorry. Give me a second here. I think it timed me out because I went in earlier. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe I can load. Let's see what's saved. Where's my desktop? Oh, there we go. Now the problem is, it's not going to. I'm going to load it, but it's not going to give me much because I didn't put a whole lot of. I didn't save it at any point. But fortunately, I can kind of zip through. So stupid. I should have saved it. Campaign settings again. Spot markets. Boston. Budget, 100,000. That's 100,000. No, it's 10,000. Okay. Goals, 65 reach, 12 frequency. Okay, and back down to here. And what did we decide? What did we do here?
I think we did 12 million impressions for social media.
Let's see. Okay, let's knock off a 0. There we go. Okay, now let me just save this for the heck of it. Oh. Okay, all right. Okay, so here's what you got here. Okay, so your reach. Okay, this is what you asked for. Your theoretical.
Your screen isn't sharing anymore. I think.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I wish you guys would have told me that. We better now?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, don't make me do this more than once. Okay. So what I went back and did, I'll talk you through it. So that's all here. Okay. So what we have now with your purchase, your $96,000, you bought you were looking for a 65 reach and a 12 frequency. What you got was a 64 reach, which is close enough. All these numbers, by the way, are estimates. Here, they'd be a little higher, a little lower once you do your buy. And your frequency was closer to 9. So you under delivered in frequency quite a bit at this point, and you spent all your money. We okay with all that? So what I would look at now is wait a minute, this didn't work. Okay, I like this reach, but I'm not crazy about this frequency. You said you wanted to get in front of people on average 12 times during the month. Okay, so you don't have any more money. Well, you don't have a lot more money. You can go back and bring your budget up. So I don't know, maybe okay, so right there. Okay, so buying more of the same didn't change the reach any appreciably. Did change the frequency a little bit. Okay, so it got better, but I'm still under delivering. Okay, and if this is what I wanted, I got to figure out something to do. I don't have more money. I've blown the money, so I can either look at different media, okay, or I could say I could look at the campaign. I could look at the target demo, reduce that a little bit if I can't afford it. Or one of the most efficient things I could do is look at the spot markets. Okay, so Boston, where you're paying per person, what if I find a market that's sort of like Boston, but a little bit smaller? Okay, you wanted to be in the Northeast. Okay, so what's a little bit smaller in Boston? Philly?
Yeah, probably.
Actually, Philly's bigger, number 4. Boston, I think, was 5 or 6. So smaller than Philly and Boston. In the Northeast, it might help to pull out a map. Yeah. I don't know. Heck, Baltimore maybe. Baltimore's a nice city. Let me go back, and just for the heck of it, I'll just pull in Baltimore. Okay, so that's instead of the 5th or 6th largest market, it's the 24th largest market. Okay, and I'm just going to make that one change. Okay, and let's see what happens. And nothing. Oh, interesting.
The numbers did change.
Oh, the numbers changed. Okay, here. Yeah, you're right. Okay, so now my reach is up to 73, so I've overshot, and my frequency I've overshot quite a bit here. So probably what I need to do is find a market that's bigger than Baltimore but smaller than Philadelphia. So I got to start looking at maps or whatever. Okay, to be the most efficient. But right now, that's pretty good. Okay, certainly within range.
Is it bad to go over your goal?
Yeah, to go wildly over the goal, I would say yes. I don't think this is that well. This is like 30, 40% over goal. That's pretty big. Mm-hmm. And what it means is you've chosen a market that's too small. Okay, and so you're going to get pretty much the same benefit. You're going to get a larger bang for the buck going into a city where there are more stores. They're going into a market, I should say, where there are more stores and more people. Okay, but let's just stick with Baltimore for a second here. Okay, now you got all these reports, and a lot of the information that you're asked for, in fact, all of it, are in one of these, reports, and so it just pays to go through them one at a time. Can you see these, by the way? Mm-hmm. Okay, so this report, said your goal was this, your actual, estimate, the estimated from the data you gave it was this. Okay, so it doesn't tell you anything you don't know already. Okay, this is something called a flow chart, which gives you some information. Let's see, that you already know. Okay, it just lays it out in that you're buying 1,273 units of digital spot in January, and that was 1,200 GRPs. Reach of 73. Again, stuff you already know. Okay, the goal sheet. Okay, again, the reach and the frequency, it's still the same stuff. Okay. How about monthly detail? Oh my gosh. Okay, so we're getting some new information here that you really need. Okay, so remember you needed a cost per point. One of the things you have to report is this cost per point. Okay, and so this is saying you have a CPP of 79 and you really ought to put a dollar sign in there. Okay, your cost per point to reach 1% of the Baltimore market is $79. Okay, it's also going to ask what is your cost per thousand, and to reach 1,000 people in the Baltimore market costs $10.67, which is pretty darn efficient. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're going to have to report those things, and this is where they come from. You're going to have to figure them out. Okay. Frequency distribution doesn't tell you anything you really want to know. Market list, it should say you're in Baltimore. Nothing you didn't already know. Okay, so really that monthly detail gives you all sorts of stuff that you do need to know, and you're asked to report that. So looking at it, a plan that costs $10 per thousand, all things being equal, is better than a plan that costs $12 per thousand. Mm-hmm. But this, okay. The one thing we haven't done here, Mariah, is you said you wanted to do social media, right?
Yeah.
What do you mean by that? And that probably is going to send you back to MRI for a little bit and say, which social media are these guys really strong in? The people you want to reach, are they big users of Instagram, or maybe they're big users of Facebook, or and you can certainly choose multiple things, but you want to be able to show they're big, that they're heavy users, and you're giving your buyer some direction, saying, okay, go buy me $100,000 worth of Facebook and Instagram. Okay. All right. Then literally you're done. It's literally a matter of printing it up, making sure you're bringing over the information to back up all the decisions we made. Mm-hmm. Okay. Erin, you had a really good list of questions this morning. Did these answer your questions?
Yes. So do we need any of the numbers off of the MRI, or as long as we know what categories we want?
Yes, you do. Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah. And so basically every decision you made, we made here. So we said we're going to choose women 18 to 54. We've got some data that supports that.
Okay.
Okay. So yes. So the conclusion was women 18 to 54. What information brought us to that decision?
I had one more question specifically with the social media example. You said then go back to MRI and figure out which site we want.
Yeah, which sites? Multiple sites probably. Yeah.
So does that count, or is that more than one medium if we're suggesting multiple sites?
Okay, so for social, sites would be considered vehicles. Okay. So Facebook, Instagram. Okay. Any other social media sites, and you guys have better handle on those than I do, are all vehicles. Okay. So which of those choices do you think are optimal?
Okay. So we can state multiple vehicles in our plan, just
Yeah,
not
yeah,
multiple means.
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
For the BDI and CDI, I know you said that we'll find them on MRI, but what specific information do you need for that?
Okay. So for you, Mariah, the information that we went through, let's see if I can get it back. Probably not. No, I'm not gonna work on getting it back. But the information that we went through, where we're looking specifically at American Eagle data on that MRI sheet, that's all the brand development index. Every one of those index numbers are BDIs.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I was playing with it to see if I could pick a group of stores, so American Eagle and its direct competitors, and figure out figure out the category. I couldn't do it, but I only had a few minutes. There might be something you can do playing with it.
Okay.
Okay. But I'm really happy if you can't find stuff that helps you within the category, because MRI doesn't cover it, that's, or doesn't give it to you in a way that you can use it. I'm okay with that. You just ignore that then.
I'll see if I can play around with it.
Yeah. Yeah, and what you want to do is you want to show where it stands with its competitors. That's probably the most important thing. Okay. Okay. Erin, Claire, Noah, any questions?
I think I'm good for now. Thank you.
Okay, good, good. Okay. And Noah, I'm going to assume no questions unless you jump in really quick.
I have one more thing, if I can.
Sure.
What all would you like to see done for Friday?
Okay.
Like, does it need to be all pretty and put together?
Yeah, okay. So if you look at the plans that are posted online, and I don't know if you've had a chance, I just put a bunch of them up this morning. They have all these decisions, and certainly they look really pretty at this point. I don't care about the pretty parts. What I care about is that you've made the decisions and you've backed it up with data.
Okay.
Okay. So if you've chosen women, why? What's the data that helps you, in 18 to 54, why? Okay. And if you get, and if you get to things that have to be looked at, intuitively because you don't have data, just say that. I think, that this is, while there's no data to support or refute this, blah blah blah. I recommend this approach.
I have a quick question.
Sure, Claire.
Are we able to bring in other data from other sources other than
sure.
MRI?
Absolutely. Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely. Just make sure tell me what it is.
Okay, sounds good.
Happy. Yeah, so if you've come across stuff, that's great.
Okay.
Always nice to bring something new extra to the party. Okay. Anything else, guys?
It looks like Amanda in the chat has a question, but her audio doesn't work.
Okay, here, hold on. Let me stop sharing. And can anyone see what that question is? Let me think. Okay, I see chat here. Hold on. Okay, I have a quick question. My audio is not working. Okay, that's not a question. So Amanda, if you can hear us, type in what your question is. Okay, so I'm doing Red Bull. Okay, which is not a seasonal drink. Aha. Okay. So Amanda, why do you say Red Bull is not a seasonal drink? And I'm hearing crickets, so I think it's an assumption that it's not a seasonal drink. Chances are it is, but you can pick however you want. So if, for instance, something is, if you're targeting what's a good way to say it? New alcohol drinkers, and you're targeting bar use of Red Bull. Well, when do people start showing up in bars? August and September. Okay, that Okay, so Amanda wrote, I feel like it's something that people drink year round. Great. And so that's the real interesting thing about this stuff. We might have some intuitive ideas, but we want to see if that's actually the case. What I would do is, well, one thing is I try to find somebody you might know, somebody who works for Red Bull, maybe a campus rep. Okay, or ask a bartender, when do you sell drinks with Red Bull? When's the big rushes? Is it around? Is it when the bars are full? When are the bars full? Okay. So we're trying to move as far away from intuition. Sometimes we need that. Sometimes that's all we got. But try to figure it out. If I had to find some evidence, what could I do? Now, if you were working for the brand itself, you would have month by month statements. You would know exactly where their big pushes are. Okay. Typically, by the way, beverages, they sell better. They correlate to temperatures pretty well. Okay. Red Bull might have a big surge, for example, among college students in November and April, when you start getting into final exam times, even though those are cooler times. Okay. Okay. So first time we've done this, worth doing again?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Aaron, what do you think?
Yeah, it was definitely very helpful.
Oh, good.
Ask
Okay.
what we need to ask.
Good. Okay. Well, this worked well with 5 or 6 people on it, so that's great. So I see Noah signed off. Claire, Amanda, Mariah, thank you so much for being the test pilot on this. And what we'll do is I'll see if the recording worked. If it is, then I'll post it for the rest of the folks. If not, you guys are just doing spectacular stuff. Okay. All right. Good night, all.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay.
Thanks.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.